guess everybody always wonders how things got started. Well, it kind of started this way. I was on Facebook one night and said, hey, I'm going to go up to Missouri for my 50th, and I think I'll just tell people that's where I'm going to be, and I'll have a drink, and whoever shows up, shows up. And then Lila.
Lila says, well, my brother and sister are there. I'm going home in the summer anyway, so I will meet you there.
And I said, I'll go with you, because I can find a way to cover all my work down here.
And then I wrote a note to Marilyn, and I said, we're going to be there anyway. We don't exactly know when, but why don't you put out a little note to your lunch bunch crew, and maybe they would like to join us there. So I sent Marilyn a note.
And I emailed and contacted all the people that I could through Facebook, and we got lots of responses. There were people that were interested. So we asked about dates, we set a date, we set a time, and from there it's history.
Now, people who had never been to another reunion called Marilyn and said, we're coming. And a lot of people called her and said, I want to help, I want to do something. And she had people doing stuff.
So now you know, if you were there, how it all started, and if you were really there, you know how it all turned out. If you weren't there, then watch the video and you'll know how it really, everybody was there, everybody had a good time, and these are the guys that really started it all and actually did all the work.
Yeah. So what started out as a drink or an afternoon or a picnic in the park turned out to be a very pleasant weekend.
Huge block party.
Huge block party. Anybody got anything else to add before we wrap this up and let everybody take a look at the video?
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Bye.
Enjoy. About 50 years ago, 1966, today is 2016, I was a graduate, and probably most of you that are watching this film were graduates of Central High School. This is where we went to school. This was a great part of our lives. Shoot, it really was our lives in 1966. But let me show you what it's like now, because we all live in the present. None of us live in the past. We enjoy the past perhaps, and that's part of the things that we're going to be doing this weekend at our reunion. But let's just look at what Central High School looks like today. Yeah, 50 years ago, friends of mine, and I was standing right here, had my Central leather jacket on with a big C on it, and we had just taken a basketball and dribbled it all the way to Jackson because we were in a big basketball tournament, the district tournament, and while my friends were lined up right here, we're back at the same spot today. It's only 50 years later. We all remember standing in here in the front hallway because you couldn't go inside the school until 8:30. They rang a bell and then we could go inside. So if it was really cold, we were inside here. Behind me was the main office. Over to this side was the dreaded Mr. Goddard's office, and if you went to see Mr. Goddard, you really were in trouble, and all of us knew that. And over to the other side over here was the auditorium, which anything that was going on, yes, they are doing construction here, and this place is totally torn up, but I will show you what it's like. At least you can get a flavor of what it's like before they totally change it into something different. So let's go take a look at some of the rest of the school. Yeah, we're in the auditorium now, and all of us had, every big event was in the auditorium. And most of you usually remember where you actually sat. Me, I used to sit right down over there, about a third of the way up. And because I sat there, I think because in the first years, we all came in by homerooms, as you remember, because the place was too crowded. Not everybody could go. And so you ended up coming in your homeroom and ended up sitting in some place. And I did notice over the years, you usually sat in the same place in the auditorium no matter what. So we're in the auditorium. Yeah, right outside of the auditorium, actually a little bit to the west of the auditorium, was this nice hallway, and if you're like me as a freshman, you probably had your locker along in here. I don't know why we got those, but nonetheless, we were right along in here someplace. And right here, where I'm knocking right now, it's not there anymore, but that used to be the gym. And so if you were going to the gym class, you were usually running to your locker, grabbing your gym stuff, going through this door right here, going downstairs, changing clothes, and then quickly getting into the gym. But that isn't here anymore. They tore that down, this year actually. But more of the tour, let's continue on. This was the band wing, well, music department, but everybody in the band, you guys all went down here. I wasn't a band guy, but a lot of you guys were a band and choir. And we all remember Gene Bryant and the whole crew that was down here. It was a very good time, and this is where they were. Well, we're in what's left of the library study hall combination, and I'm standing on this wall, and for those of you guys that remember, back in the days, there were what I call magazine racks, but the librarians would always correct me, and that's my first thing that I knew about magazines, that they were actually called periodicals. And these were the periodicals that sat here. And I used to come over here and grab my copy of Motorcycle, or sometimes Road and Track, or whatever I could get here and take a look at it. And then we would go in study hall, sit at our tables in study hall. Yeah, I'm in the chemistry room. There's nothing left of it, but this whole wing up here was where math and chemistry and all that kind of good stuff was, up on the second floor. And so, as you see, it's all going to be new. Yeah, this is in the upper hallway down by the science section. Ken Steinoff sold dark rooms over there too. Now this is the northwest corner down in the business section where they used to have, and they're banging on the wall as you can hear, but where they used to have the typing and note hand and all these classes, business classes we call them, and this whole section was used for that. This is the first floor in the business office section. Those typing classes were up here, and all the business things. Now we're downstairs in the cafeteria. Well, what used to be the cafeteria. They added on a little section, as you can see behind me there, where the brick wall is. That's where it used to end, and they added it on back in the 90s, that they've told me. But this is where we had all of our meals. Now, after lunch, everybody did the same thing. You came out this door here, and then you walked up this sidewalk around the old gym, and you went to the Tiger Den. This is the infamous or famous track. Of course, in our day, it wasn't asphalt like it is. It was red cinder. And either you love running laps when the coaches, either Coach Hargens or Coach Brinkoff or Weldon Hager or even Payne Muir would tell us to run our laps, or else you hated it. But this was it, and we all spent time here. Love it or hate it, this is the track. Of course, tennis wasn't my sport, but I know it was a lot of people's sports, and they still have the tennis courts here. And tearing them up, I guess, gonna build new ones, who knows, but if you were a tennis player, you spent a lot of time over here. For all you guys that took mechanical drawing and the things that I don't know anything about, but they were all down the first floor here. And you remember Mr. Hirschberger, who used to be the instructor down here? Well, this was his domain. Home ec was right behind me, and this is where guys and girls learned the actual skills of life. I'm in the home ec room. Now, as a guy, we were never even allowed to even look in here, I don't think. I saw pictures of it one time, but I'm actually in the home ec room. Now, nowadays, guys take home ec all the time, and matter of fact, if I wish I would have taken it, because during my single years, it would come in handy to have them, to at least know how to cook a meal or something like that. So, but this is the home ec room. This is the famous lower hallway where we all used to hang out, usually after lunch, because you could come up from the tiger den, which is over there, and kind of hang out in here and kind of be out of sight of everybody. The offices were upstairs, but it was way far enough away where you could just hang out here. You could go outside, come from the inside if it's raining, and take a shortcut to the tiger den if you wanted to and miss the gym. But this lower hallway was used a lot by us. Yeah, this is the old tiger den. And as you see, construction is going on. This is the place we used to hang out after eating lunch for that 5-10 minutes. The records playing over there, people dancing. Now they got it all chopped up. It's just a series of small rooms. Only in the memories remain. We hope you've enjoyed our films of the 50th year anniversary. And remember, there's more films to see. If you'd like to, just look down the page and click on the other links.